Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Tapio, founder of the CEMTF and former council member in the city of Berkeley. And tonight we're here to debut our 2024-25 Alameda County Climate Scorecard, plus a couple other cities and county. And we're gonna start. It's here we are in May 22nd, and we had some graduates. I want to congratulate Fatima and Sophia who graduated last night, which is why we're having our meeting tonight. Because UC Berkeley didn't ask us before they scheduled their graduation. And and so, but we're just gonna do a little bit of get to know you for 2 seconds. And today is mental health. Well, this month is mental health month. It's also Asian Pacific Islander month. And we're still living in a genocide. And yesterday I was out there protesting Chevron, so that felt good. And so we just have to stay diligent and stay, aware of what's going on in this world today. But that's not why we're here tonight. Tonight we're here to listen to our amazing fellows, and we're just going to have like a little icebreaker that's going to say, like, what are you doing to prepare yourself mentally for, the future? In 2 words, 1 or 2 words, I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to say prayer. I'm praying a lot, and I'll pass it to Annie.
Mm, blissful ignorance.
Good
Uh,
one.
I'll pass it to Jack.
Try to stay healthy, active. Fatima?
I would say do some reading. I feel like that really helps me a lot. Sophia?
I would say staying connected with other people and other people's like lives and perspectives. Norma?
I do Peace and Freedom Party. I'm a good communist. Third generation.
You want to pass it to someone?
I don't know who hasn't spoken.
All the names that you see there, none of them have spoken.
All the names there have what?
I'll take care of it.
Yeah, my
I
sound
got
is
you. I got
rotten.
you. Lynette turned her camera on, but it's kind of blurry. But go ahead, Lynette. You're unmuted.
I just wanted to say, functioning on a higher frequency and fasting, because we don't want to tip the scales the ugly way. We want everything to go higher and better.
Excellent. Thank you. Do you want to pass it?
Yeah, I'll pass it to Jody. Did you say anything?
No,
No,
go ahead,
but
Jody.
I would just say sleep. Sleep's been my, trying to get enough because it's broken a lot, worrying, concerned, feeling bad, feeling good. So more sleep.
Rest
And,
is a form of resistance. Go ahead.
Yeah. Eric or Larry?
This is Larry. So I am the reporter that was mentioned earlier, and I'm watching this for the Independent to see what you guys do, and then we'll see where that goes. But so I won't participate, but I will answer your question. I plan to retire in 5 months, so there you go.
Excellent.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. You want to pass it? Or I can pass it.
Jody, I guess.
No, she
Jody went.
Oh, Jody
Eric.
went. I don't know that let's see.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I got you. Eric, go ahead.
Hello. Jack invited me here. Well, Wait, sorry, what are we doing again? Like in
You're
terms
just saying like, how are you gonna, in 2 words or 1 or 2 words, dealing with the mental health and the time and the climate that we're in today, literally and otherwise.
I think maybe anti-procrastination is the key, just like
Excellent.
doing things immediately instead of waiting it out, because then you have like a lot of things to do. Oh, yeah.
That's a great answer. Do you want to pass it? I can get you.
Francisca, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Francisca hasn't gone. You're right.
Yeah, hi there. Nature would be my one word.
Excellent. John, go ahead.
You're on mute, John. And incidentally, John and I were just on a call from the International Solidarity Working Group. So I recognize your name, John. Nice to see you again on this meeting.
Yeah, you're talking to me, Ed, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2 words on how you're going to deal with your mental health in these times.
Meditative peace.
Excellent. Nice. And last but not least, the number ending in 55.
There's a few more. Pilar has not gone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pilar. Go ahead.
Sure. Soil. Soil and sunshine.
Excellent.
And
And
then
then
GPCA, what is that?
and Francesca. Oh no, she just went. GPCA, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Greg Chan. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to change it. Friends, talking with friends.
Excellent. 5528, go ahead. You're muted. You can unmute.
Hello, this is Laura Rosenberger, Hyder, Friends Against Fracking. Okay, just wish I had more time, but maybe I just got to prioritize the most important things. There's so many things I have time to do. And it's hard for the sustainable lifestyle. It takes time. That's the thing. If you have expect people to work so many hours in a job to survive and do a sustainable lifestyle, but the thing is that the leaking pipelines I have to mention about these pipelines that go from the oil well to the bigger pipelines, there's been a higher rate of leakage than what the EPA knows about. And they found it by satellite. And it was in an earthquake area in Texas, but there's earthquake areas in Los Angeles too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And that is great. Those are some excellent answers. It just gives us a little bit of getting to know you. I appreciate that. And so with no further to do, I'd like to introduce our amazing UC Berkeley Fellows, College Core Fellows. They've been with us since I guess technically the end of August, but and they're completed their hours, 450 hours on top of their full-time schoolwork and jobs and everything. So we're so grateful. This is our 3rd year having UC Berkeley College Core Fellows, and they've all done an amazing job, and you're going to see how amazing our students this year are as well. Jack, did you want to say anything?
No, but we could spotlight them if you let me be.
Oh, yes, please. Let me make you a co-host. I meant to say that earlier because co-host. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Jack. Thanks for that. Yeah, so our amazing fellows are Annie Fo, Safia Hassan, and Fatima Zuniga Arun. And I don't know who's going first, who's on second, and who's on third, but and then we also have an amazing fellow that wasn't able to be here this evening, Nisa. Spacing on her last name right now, but pardon?
Zamora.
Zamora, right, correct. Thank you. but she wasn't able to be here, but these three are gonna do an amazing job, so go for it.
Can you take the person's hand down that's got his hand up, their hand up?
I can, did you want to have your hand up for a reason? Before,
There
okay,
it
great,
goes.
thank you. And if everybody can mute themselves as well, that would be great, that aren't besides the three speakers. Go for it.
Hi, Sophia, did you want to share your screen or do you want me to?
I can do that right now. I have it set up.
And
So we're all.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I just wanted to thank Larry for being here. I think he was here last year as well.
So we're gonna present for about like 45 minutes and then we'll leave like 15 minutes of questions till the end, if that's okay. So we prepared this presentation for you guys. We made the second iteration or a new iteration of the Alameda County Climate Scorecard for the 2024 to 2025 years. So we can go to the next slide. Oh, okay. So I will actually share this slide with you guys, so that you could get all the links and everything. I'll drop it in the chat right now. But with these links, you guys can see our scorecard for this year that's completed, the reference sheet that you could find all of our sites for, and how we answered the questions, and then also the 2023 to 2024 Alameda scorecard for reference. Next slide, please. Okay, so we just want to introduce ourselves before we get started. My name is Annie. I'm currently a third year at UC Berkeley, and I study political science and environmental economics and policy. And next off, I'll pass it off to Sophia, I think.
Yeah, so I'm Sophia Hassan. I graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in political science, and I specialized in comparative politics. I also am a volunteer for Save My Soul. Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, and I'm also a college pro fellow as well. And I'll pass it on to Fatima to introduce.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fatima. I'm a graduate of UC Berkeley, political science, just graduated. My emphasis is in comparative politics and international relations. I'm hoping to become an immigration lawyer, so applying to law schools this December. I'm also a volunteer. I was also a volunteer with the Alternative Breaks. And I was specifically in like the Latino and farm working rights area. So I was volunteering for them in LEAP in a place called Huron. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's so weird to hear Safi and Fatima introduce themselves as graduates. Congrats. Okay, so now we're gonna introduce just like focusing on like the new additions that we've added this year. Since we don't want to just like throw all the same information at you from last year. But first I'll probably start with like a summary if you guys are new to the climate scorecard. We've just compiled uh about like 25 questions that we think are very important that highlight climate policy and make sure that all the cities in Alameda County are up to par in those regards to make sure that they are on track to meet climate goals. So with that, we'll introduce our new additions. Next. Okay, so starting off with a little fun, um we designed a little like new graphics for the title card. We wanted to definitely like keep the Alameda County Courthouse in there, and like I feel like that was like a pinnacle of like the Bay Area. And then also we wanted to make this more of a holistic review as last scorecard, we took into account with like walkability, bikeability, and busability, but we recognized that like that it doesn't really make sense for like some cities to implement new bus lanes while it is very easy for other cities or makes sense for other cities to do so. So we've kind of replaced that with a new visualization of each score, which is shown here. Okay. And then I think we can move on to the new questions with Sophia.
Great. Okay. So we added 5 new questions. You replaced older ones with these 5 new ones. First, like coming from like a political science standpoint and like doing data analysis and policy analysis, we recognize that it would be hard to compare this year's results with last year's results because they're different questions, different standards. But we were kind of thinking with these new questions that they added like a layer of inclusion of different groups and different challenges that we face because of climate change. So starting off, we added the new question in the city planning section, I believe, of if the city is a sanctuary city. And our main reason behind that was that climate change fuels migration, and it has changed migration patterns globally and also in the US as well. To begin with, how poverty and violence are seen as major factors driving migration to the United States. Recent analysis and migration experts have pointed towards a driving factor that's often overlooked, which is climate change. On top of the rising number of natural disasters, rising seas have overtaken island nations, and rising rates of droughts exacerbate conflicts in various parts of the world. A recent report representing the largest data analysis of its kind in the United States has compiled 3,600 responses and first-hand accounts of migrants and displaced people seeking safety in the United States. And they found that almost half of respondents from the Americas experience environmental disasters such as hurricanes, droughts, extreme heat, and floods in their home countries. Over half of respondents experience disasters in their home countries and face more than one disaster. These events also led to destruction of homes, livelihoods, and physical infrastructure because of climate change. Nearly half of respondents also reported significant income loss or crop failure due to environmental disasters, and this often also fueled hunger. They also reported illnesses and injuries such as dehydration, heat stroke, and respiratory issues that are also related to climate change and global warming. And due to these poor living conditions during and after disasters, they exacerbate their own health challenges. Additionally, it was also found through different kind of studies like over time in different regions, is that climate disasters also exacerbate violence and conflicts in affected regions. Gangs and armed groups often seize control of resources after disasters, which leads to extortion, recruitment, and increased violence. It's also been identified, climate change has also been identified as a threat multiplier, meaning that exacerbates economic insecurity and political instability, which in turn will lead to migration. And for example, in the dry corridor of Central America, climate change extremes such as droughts may hinder crop production without a consistent source of food or income. Our farmer may seek other livelihood opportunities in a nearby city or further north. When combined with poverty or violence in a nearby city or in urban places, the journey north to the United States seems to be a more promising adaptation or survival strategy. And such effects of global warming on immigration patterns has stressed the need for immigration relief in the United States. And this question kind of addresses the need of immigrants who are coming to the United States due to issues relating to climate change. For the rubric part of this question, we want to emphasize the enforcement of this commitment to be a sanctuary city and what it means to be a sanctuary city over like a symbolic gesture of whether or not they're a sanctuary city. So we rewarded full points to cities who made bigger commitments in helping immigrants and undocumented community members, such as working with law enforcement, schools, and other public services to help undocumented immigrants in these times where a lot of them are under threat. That is it for that question. The next question, we added a question about parks. How many residents live within a 10-minute walk to the park? And our reason for adding this question was that parks are a climate solution. They alleviate the effects of climate change on communities, and they also reduce harmful carbon pollution that's driving climate change. They protect people and infrastructure from increasingly severe storms, sea level rise, heat waves, and droughts. And they also directly reduce some of the primary public health challenges that are exacerbated by climate change. Parks are known as cooling urban heat islands. Parks and trees are known as one of the most effective ways to combat extreme heat. A recent study in Baltimore, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. showed that on one of the hottest days last summer, parks were a cooling oasis, as much as 17 degrees cooler than parts of the city lacking trees and green space. In addition, the cooling benefit parks can extend as far as a half mile from park boundaries, helping cool the neighborhood and reduce heat stress for residents. They also minimize flooding and improve water quality in the nearby area. Parks that incorporate water smart landscaping features called green infrastructure can reduce flooding and protect water quality. Green infrastructure can filter as much as 95% of major pollutants out of stormwater runoff. Research has also shown that green infrastructure features such as rain gardens can reduce stormwater runoff by as much as 90%, reducing the likelihood of costly flooding. Parks and trees also clean the air, and they're estimated to remove as much as 711,000 metric tons of air pollution annually, and sequester more than 90 million metric tons of carbon a year. That's equivalent of removing more than 19 million cars from the road for 1 year. Urban trees also filter particulate matter from automobiles and other cars, which further cleans the air. For our rubric, we didn't necessarily look at, these numbers were kind of determined just in general. They weren't chosen for certain like numbers. It was just very much like, well, what should a passing score look like for these cities? And we determined that'd be 74%, 200% of residents will live within a 10-minute walk to the park. And then for Region 0.
Yeah, so I was going to present on Vision Zero, which is a broader kind of campaign, which if you're not familiar with, it's basically the idea of getting to zero traffic fatalities, which kind of seems unrelated, but in that that idea is to make cities and towns built for pedestrians and people again, and make physical infrastructure made for humans, not necessarily the cars. So we wanted to, this has been really like implemented in European cities and has been recently been integrated in many Bay Area cities. So we wanted to emphasize it because it really highlights like infrastructure made for us and that's more accessible for humans, and creates green space along like while making the infrastructure. So we see that like walking and cycling benefits the planet, and it also reduces the incentive to use most of the time single person vehicles. So yeah, we wanted to integrate this question as part of like replacing the busability, walkability, and bikeability, because it shows more like a holistic review for each city, and it's more flexible for like the existing infrastructure and towns of the Bay Area. So we rewarded 4 points for each city having a plan, and it has actually implemented it. Um, we gave half points for like vaguely mentioning traffic safety because uh, some towns that were not familiar with it and haven't implemented it yet, and then 0 if they haven't implemented it. And along with Vision Zero, there's also I'm pretty sure like a nonprofit of a similar name that will also assist the cities in making this. So it's a better transition than if just like putting the burden on the cities. And then next slide, please. Yeah, continuing on the holistic review, we wanted to focus on like creating cities that are not only livable in the housing crisis, but also like where people are able to thrive. So we wanted to emphasize like green space and biking and public transportation more. And if the city emphasizes that while also considering the city itself. And we wanted to emphasize using public transport or like biking and walking rather than vehicles. So we added this new question and we rewarded 4 points if it had clear plans and implementation to expand biking and public transportation accessibility and some cities even have bike workshops. There's 2 points awarded if it mentioned it in plans, and then 0 points for if the city had no plans at all to expand public transport or if their public transport was just not up to par with the citizens' demands.
And then for this question, does the city have a compost hub? The reason for adding this question was that composting reduces emissions from landfills. Originally, we had a question about a plastic bag ban, but then that was a bit, it wasn't as enforced. So we wanted to include a question that was enforceable, not enforceable, but that would actually kind of show like a change in attitudes towards the environment, and it can from like city initiatives. So compost hubs are basically they're a little facility. It can be run by the city itself. It can be run by a nonprofit or by the private organization. I know some like even some churches will have compost hubs nearby for residents to pick up free compost. As really part of a broader like zero waste initiative. So reducing food waste has been identified as the top list of impactful interventions to mitigate climate change. And composting is one of the ways we can keep food scraps out of landfills, which helps reduce landfill methane emissions. Composting can also help the climate by restoring soil health. It helps build resistance to climate-related changes and reduce reliance on synthetic fertilizers and sequester carbon in the process. As well as waste reduction, soil health, and soil health regeneration. It's also a great local resource for fertilizers rather than having to source fertilizers for your gardens from a wide distributor. You can source one locally. And helps communities gain a valuable locally sourced soil that can replace or reduce the need for synthetic fertilizers. It also proceeds from compost sales can also be invested in community projects, which further amplifies the local economic and environmental benefits of the compost hub. They also generate a lot of public engagement and education. A lot of compost hubs will also host workshops or tours to teach residents about composting, gardening, and sustainability. And it also fosters participation and a sense of stewardship and enforces eco-friendly habits at home. Compost hubs also create green jobs. Which like large-scale compost hubs create employment opportunities in operations, logistics, and education. And it can be significant, especially in smaller towns, in creating a greener local economy. And then for rubric, it was pretty straightforward. It was if a city has a compost hub, they got their full points. If they mentioned trying to implement a compost hub, they got in progress points, which is half the amount. And if they had no plans and they don't have any compost hubs, we gave them 0 points on this question. And then we also implemented higher standards on the scorecard. The reason being that we wanted high-end transparency over greenhouse gas inventory, and it serves as a baseline to measure progress over time, and it also ensures that there's global compliance with standards that are set globally in reducing global gas emissions. Recently in the past, our scorecard was we give them full points if they published the greenhouse gas inventory at all. And then we realized that we wanted it to be more recent, we wanted to be more reoccurring, especially with just given like the time that we need to be hitting these global targets of reducing greenhouse gases. So full points were awarded to cities who updated their greenhouse gas inventory within the past 5 years. And we found that that cities were still able to meet this. And then if the city had not published a greenhouse gas inventory within 5 years, and went on longer, it was like maybe 10 years ago, we gave them half amount of points, 2 points. And if they never published their greenhouse gas inventory, we gave them 0 points. That was one of our higher standards for this scorecard. And the next one was a percentage of people enrolled in 100% renewable energy through AVA. And the reason being is that cities have had enough time for these reasonable and attainable standards and to be strengthened each year, meaning that we should be promoting 100% renewable energy to residents. It's pretty reasonable. So in a past scorecard, I think if over 68% of people in the city use 100% renewable, they would get full points. But we realized that this, obviously given the dire situation of climate change, we probably should be doing better. So we increased the standards in the rubric to 80% would be passing. Annie, do you want to add anything else to these?
I don't think so. I think you've pretty much touched on it. I think maybe it was just like the previous authors of the scorecard recognize that each year new initiatives are introduced and the scores should get higher, but we wanted to make sure as the years also progress to like 2035, which is most of the times the goal in progressive legislature, we wanted to strengthen the climate. I mean, like we wanted to strengthen the standards that we put on cities, and while some cities sometimes are like, oh, we can't implement it, or we haven't had enough time. It's reasonable now for them to be able to do this. They have the resources to, for example, for the other question, measure greenhouse gases. I think during our research, we did see that some cities had like greenhouse gas inventory for like the 2000s, which does not help at all, and they do have the resources to do it. So it should be expected of them and perhaps mandated that they updated it at a reasonable time. And then as for ava, I think it's like a lot of the cities did have like 70 to 80%, so it was very reasonable for these amount of people and with the assistance that ava provides to be enrolled. So yeah.
Okay, so the next section we added was definitions. I'm so sorry if there's noise in the background. I am outside. It's the quietest place I found. But so for this section, it was one of my priorities when coming into the scorecard, because as someone who didn't come from a background of like knowing a lot of climate change, I did touch up on it on like a couple internships and maybe like some extra courses in my community college, but it wasn't like something that I felt confident in or understood many of the language that it was. So when I was first introduced with the prior scorecard, I was having trouble understanding a lot of these questions. And fortunately for me, I had Jack and Cheryl to explain any questions that I had, but it just made me think of the whole point of creating a scorecard is so that these are accessible to the community, right? So that they know and are aware of what's going on in their cities and what their politicians are doing for them, or how they're helping, or how what are they contributing, right, to combat climate change. And it's hard to know what the scorecard is talking about if you don't really know how we're rating it, or why the questions are picked the way they are, or what the questions even mean. So I personally felt like it was necessary to inform the readers how we got these questions and why they're important to climate change. It was not that the other prior scorecard, I mean, it was great, right? They did amazing work in the prior scorecard. But they had, like, in the end sections, it was just references that were available. And unfortunately, that wasn't enough, at least for me, if I was a reader and I was just casually a regular citizen, right, just trying to see what was going on in my community. That was unfortunately not enough for me to be informed. And that is saying, as someone who had somewhat of a climate change education background, right? Not a lot, but some. And unfortunately, it was a little confusing for me. So I felt like the definitions were an important addition to make. I don't know if you want to go to the next one. Thank you, Sophia. Okay, so for one of, like, the examples, right, we had, like, declared a climate emergency. So as having the education that I have, obviously I can make references, right? I can make I can try to see what it is, right? But like, saying that I don't have the education that I have, or not having some, like, climate background, I probably wouldn't have known what it meant, or why it was important, or how I even contributed, or even declared racism of public health. That question itself could have thrown me off. I mean, it did throw me off a little bit when I first read it. I was not as informed. So it was definitely, like, I feel like these types of definitions definitely help the reader understand what they're reading. And when you read the scorecard, you do want to attract the reader, right? So when you have all these, like, score guides, and you have everything, all the wording and everything, and you read it and you don't understand it, much of the time you go to, like, the glossary for help, or you go for the index for help, right? That's the same thing we're trying to do. And when you don't have that available, I mean, it's you're reading, but you're not really capturing, and you kind of lose interest halfway through. So you're just looking through it, and it doesn't really, it deflates the whole entire purpose that we try to create the scorecard for. It's obviously to keep it's just to inform the community better, and to help ensure that the scorecard is for everybody, and you don't have to have a background in it to understand it. So yeah, like, I took in all the questions, and I provided a definition of it, of what we were asking in the question, why we chose it, or how it impacts, or how it's connected to climate change. And yeah, in the hopes that this will help reach other audience that probably don't have background that we do, but do want to understand what's going on in their city or community. And for this as well, okay, so when we did the scorecard prior, it had Alameda County cities in it, which is fantastic. But we were discussing on how it would it be beneficial to see how it would compare to other cities who are known to be very progressive in their environmental policies or in their environmental work, or to see if even, like, a bigger city, right, in comparison, how does that compare, right? And I was fortunate enough to be in charge of San Francisco for this scorecard. They did gain a 78 top score. This tied with Berkeley and Oakland in our scorecard. And it's quite amazing to see that our cities here are quite tied to San Francisco, especially because their environmental work is very progressive in the sense, and obviously Berkeley is as well. But what I did want to focus is that 78 top, it's the 78 top score, but it would have been technically the top score of the rest, because one of the question is aimed for Alameda County cities specifically, which is Ava, which is quite known in the city itself. I mean, in the county itself, right? In Alameda County itself. It's not saying that it shouldn't be progressed to further. That's our goal. That's what we're trying to do. But that's what kind of like lowered their points a bit. But in the other area of the scorecard, they actually excelled in. So they would have technically been top score if those questions were available. So they would have been what we were trying to compare it for. And we do believe that having these cities is not only good to see how cities in Alameda County are faring to other cities that are not within its own, right? But it's important to put benchmarks. I mean, that's the whole purpose why we created well, that's why Cheryl and CMTF and all of you guys created this scorecard, is to create like almost a benchmark, right? Or to hold politicians accountable, or to inform the community, right? So it's important to have like cities like these to put a benchmark up and create a model for other cities. And San Francisco, I mean, when I was researching, I mean, it was quite impressive with what they have done. And yeah, they did tie first place with Berkeley and Oakland. So anyway, to the next one. Yep.
Yeah. So for my city, I just put additional city that we use as a comparison or benchmark. We defined Richmond as another city like SF that's made incredible progress in terms of their environmental policies. And they got the second top score, and they're the fourth highest ranking city. One of the notes that I found the most interesting is that they made historical efforts, making the first planning community in the United States to completely ban gas hookups from new developments. Unfortunately, this isn't enforced quite yet due to other political and court-related reasons. But I think the effort initiative is incredible given their background as a city that depends on gas. And once again, they kind of were an important benchmark and model for other cities in Alameda, cities in Alameda County. They have other like more like grassroots initiatives, but I think they're very well accomplished. I think environmental policies from my research, like the policies that I looked up for the scorecard were nothing to compare to the grassroots initiatives that were taking place that could not be measured by these scorecard questions, unfortunately. But I think them having that second top score really demonstrated that there were efforts being made on a political level as well, and policy level. And then overall, the average score across all cities was 59. And for cities in Alameda County, the average score is 57. We had quite a few cities that had lower rankings, but I think, as you can tell, about 12 cities had almost like passing scores compared to the 5 cities who were below passing. So I think we are making progress, and a lot of cities are doing better and implementing different policies that address climate change. I think overall, the questions that are being asked in the scorecard, like Annie said, they're very holistic, and we're looking at we're trying to find out different ways to incorporate different elements of climate change and addressing climate change through these new questions, and also these rubric changes as well. And we hope that this can kind of be added on to the next few years and more scorecards. I think this is time for questions. Let's like Fatima or anyone want to add anything else, like kind of like in sum of this scorecard.
Yeah, so for this, I think our aim and our purpose for this year regarding the scorecard was to create more of a benchmark standard kind of way. That was definitely our focus in this year. I mean, we created the whole comparative cities, which I definitely think will help in the long run. And we also like transformed different questions to ensure that the benchmark is there, right? We not only want to create almost like I mean, with policy work, it's always declarations, right? But we want to see them do the actual work, right? We want to see them do progress. We want to see what they've done with it. And that's exactly what we try to portray in this scorecard this year. And I mean, we hope we can cross, some numbers kind of went down, some numbers went up. But I mean, that was the whole purpose, right? We want to see what they're actually doing, not only saying, but have their actions reflect what they've been preaching, right? And so we hope that in this scorecard it's kind of reflected. And we also just wanted to be more accessible to the community, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's who we're making this for. So we were hoping that this would be more accessible, and a more attract just a regular citizen who wants to know what's going on within their city and what their politicians are doing for them. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that was pretty well said, Fatima. I think that we really wanted to, as you said, like emphasize how cities do both like symbolic and also implementation of policies. Like for example, like Cheryl's like champion of Berkeley declaring racism a public health issue is a very important and strong symbolic issue that we really wanted to emphasize, because it means something when a city declares that. But we also wanted to make sure that like we wanted to see if cities were implementing substantial change like regarding infrastructure and policy. And we could like go through the new Alameda County scorecard right now, or we could get some questions. But if there are questions, we could like answer them now. So feel free to ask.
Feel free to raise your hand if you have a question. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Sophia, Annie, and Fatima. I see one hand raised. Lynette, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, like, are you working on possible solutions to the problem and a list of recommendations?
I don't think that was our goal to like create the necessarily like the solutions to these. I think that there are certain goals that we are trying to get cities on track of, and there are certain policies like AVA or like different organizations like Vision Zero that have already set the initiatives. And also we are using like the standards set by previous legislature, which has had historic like solutions in the past. But our goal was mostly to see like where each city stands and like keep them accountable, but each city is flexible in how they implement that.
Oh, thank you.
And to add on to that, I guess in a way, if a city were to be like, well, we don't know how to promote biking and walking, how can you do that? They can look at a reference sheet and they can click on the link where the city has scored full points. And in that link, we added a link to the other cities' page where they do promote biking and walking, and that might be a link to their project plan for increasing infrastructure for sidewalks and for bike lanes. And that looks like different for every single city. So that's why we wanted to incorporate. I think Alameda is a very diverse county as well, with rural and urban settings, and we wanted to make sure that these questions that are being asked of them, there would be cities in urban areas and rural areas that accomplish certain standards.
Cheryl, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a statement because with as part of College Core, they are not allowed to endorse, support candidates or legislation, and do not engage in lobbying efforts or political campaigns as their College Core service placement. So that's one of the reasons too why solutions aren't part of this whole, because actually too, they have to create their own legislation and College Corps can't be part of that. I just wanted to say that disclaimer so that we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, I think like as Sophia was saying, I mean, we don't provide solutions, but every question that is provided here is targeted to help climate change, right? So we do our best. I mean, if we have a city that doesn't really didn't get all red, but got a red on this scorecard, there are other cities who got a green, and I mean they're able to see what has worked or what has happened. But the solutions, not really, but there are certain things that we have seen that worked and have been done.
Well, I think you did a wonderful, wonderful job, and I'm really, really proud of you. As an elder, I am proud of y'all. Go ahead, slap yourself on the back. Yeah, give yourself some flowers. You deserve it.
Thank you so much. John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to split here in a second, but I might have missed this. What did you use for benchmark? For like was Berkeley and its um transition, or yeah, you call it that. The benchmark for everything else?
There
Or
wasn't. Okay, so there wasn't really like a city that we had thought, oh, they are what we want them to achieve. These are all topics that we have collectively seen or we have been learning about that have worked or need to be done in order to see some progress. And we've researched every city and what they've done relating to this topic or have they done comparing to that. And it's not really a benchmark we set. It's more of like, this is what you kind of need to like, this is what we've seen as work. And other cities have like done it as well. So I mean, it's kind of like a benchmark to an extent. I mean, like other cities have done it. So like, you know, it's possible.
so
But
it's just as variable as life is. Progress
yeah.
is a benchmark. So if you're progressing, no matter how much or how successful you're moving forward, you're reaching the benchmark.
Yeah, I think well, a lot of it was set by previous authors, but also like I feel like a lot of these standards are to meet like international like Paris Climate Accords or like IPCC standards that have been set to if you are on track to reach our global climate goals in like 2035 or
Just
20
being on track.
Yeah. So it's like a culmination. Okay, it's like a
Culmination.
yeah, it's like that word of many of the important issues that we thought were most important for the Bay Area, and a lot of these cities like are on track, and with like the publication of like greenhouse gas inventory or things like that, you could see that they are like decreasing and are on track to like whatever the goal is, like net zero or like net zero like emissions and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like it was a good study, guys, and maybe a little more refinement, and you could publish dissertations on it or something in graduate school. Thanks for your time, though.
Thank you so much.
I gotta go. You guys have a great night, okay?
You too.
Everyone.
Thank you for being here. Jack has his hand up. Go ahead, Jack.
In actually on that point though that John made, I was thinking maybe you could show the rubric to show how all the cities scored in one big table, if you'd get a sense of how the scoring actually worked. If somebody wants to bring that up and share their screen.
Yeah, I can do that. I believe I had it open. Great. Just for context, this is the scorecard reference sheet for this year. this has all of the cities and all of our guesses, nodes, and in progresses, along with the questions on the side and the rubric as well, just like as a reminder of what we're doing. We use this ourselves to guide our research and our scoring. I'm trying to zoom out so you get a bigger picture of what's going on here.
Yeah, and
But
this eventually made our maybe you can show like the city statistics sheet of the finished scorecard so it looks prettier.
yes, I'll do that too.
If you go to the bottom of that, though, you'll see the scores.
Yeah.
I'll try to show the ranking. I think that's gonna be
And also each answer is a link to the answer, correct?
That's correct.
All of the answers have a link except the ones with no's. The reason that they're no's most of the time is because there's no information available. But yeah, the rest do have a link to them.
And these are the city statistics and the rankings. As you can see, Berkeley and Oakland ranked the highest. And then we also, just for as a note, we put the comparison cities, like the little like quote unquote benchmarks or other cities that were doing well on their policies. You put them at the end. So you the San Francisco ranks top as well and ties with Berkeley and Oakland. Richmond is in second in the ranking. And if you go back, you see Hayward and Livermore in third, as well as Alameda City, and so on.
Yeah, so as you can see, like not one city was like marked as a benchmark. Like you can see like Berkeley, although being number one, still is at 78 and has a long way to go.
Also, as you can see, some of them are tied. They might have gotten the same score, but they each excel in different areas. So where some may have gotten all 4 points, others may have gotten 2, but they would have another area where they also got another 4 points, right? So they are tied in the sense that that's where their placement is and the progress that they are, but they do all excel differently.
I'm impressed that Livermore did so well because it's not a city that you would think of as doing as much. So I know Sophia is from Livermore. Did you have something to do with that, Sophia?
I'll possibly make that, you know.
It makes the bomb. It does wonderfully.
It does.
Nuclear weapons, yes. Well, Berkeley does too, Livermore Labs, so.
Right.
Yeah, the labs have been a great help with the city. Yes, they do certain things inside that maybe aren't great for the environment, but they work really close with the city of Livermore, as well as even the wineries. I was speaking to a resident of Livermore a few days ago, and she was talking about how Livermore Labs has partnered with the city to collect compost and organize compost in a way that they're able to compost it like successfully. And then they work with wineries to use that compost that's been locally sourced in their vineyards. And they've been able to kind of develop a science of composting where they can, compost everything in these vineyards and have it be carbon neutral. And like I said, landfills do produce a lot of methane emissions. So being able to compost well and successfully is great, as well as like these wineries don't have to rely on like synthetic fertilizers for their vineyards. They can use locally sourced compost that helps both the city and the environment, and also like helps them too, not having to source these things from outside. So Livermore does well because of different reasons. But yeah, Cheryl.
Actually, I didn't mean to raise my hand, but I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive though. So who knew that they did things like that? So that's great information to have. I don't think we had that information previously, so that's excellent. Yeah.
Also, thank you, Jack, for putting the link on the chat. But also if you go to the end of the page of sorry, not the end, towards the end of the page of the scorecard, the link is also available. It's in bold, but it's like attached to, if you want to show that, Sophia.
The reference sheet or
Where it shows the link oh, sorry. I was thinking of the score guide, my bad. I don't know if you want to show the link to the score guide too as well.
like the reference
I can
part?
drop all the links right now.
I think it's only clickable for me, not for what was it called?
And if Larry wanted to know the contact information for the students, I don't know whether you want to do that, but you could put your emails in the chat if
Yeah.
for
I
Larry.
think I can email him later on with all of our information in.
Okay.
I have his email written down here.
Yes. That's so cool. We did not know we were going to be graced by the presence of a reporter. Maybe if my buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. I think he was here last year. I mean, I did send it out to a list of a few. It said,
Can I just say I've been doing this for 40 years and no one has ever said they were pleased with the whatever way you just said, the grace of my presence, or it's never been said before.
Maybe if I butter you up, our article is really good.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't part of the plan. But we appreciate you being here because I believe you were here last year as well.
Yeah, and I have communicated while you're talking with Sophia, and we're gonna get what we need.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, so does anybody else have any more questions for our amazing fellows? Well, let's give them, oh, I have my camera off. Let's give them an applause. You can clap your hands via Zoom. That was excellent. You did it, you know, and it came out great, you know, so, and that was a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of questions, literally and otherwise, because we would meet, you know, weekly, and the students would come to us with questions, and then we would have questions for them, and you know, it's a process, and this year has been great too because they put us in a different way of thinking about CEMTF and how we need to be more present in our social media content, and like using because we have the virtual summit series as well. The CEMTF will be having a 6 virtual summit series. We're not prepared to tell you about that yet quite, but we will shortly. But it's going to be coming up the 3rd Friday in July, September, November, January, and March. So put those down on your calendars. And the students have, you know, like introduced all the speakers for those events, and that was amazing. But now I lost track of what I was gonna say. But they've been great, and we've learned from them. And the social media content is what I was going to say. And our website, they gave us ideas to how to change the website, and then the definitions and the new questions for the scorecard. And just like from our video recordings of the series, you know, we never thought of using that as a promotional, like taking parts of it to promote CEMTF. So they've given us like a wide scope of ideas and opportunities to advance CEMTF in ways that we had never thought of before. So we're grateful for you, all of you, and including Nisa, for all your ideas and thoughts and questions and time. And because they have to meet not only with us, they have to meet within them for them. The four of them or the three of them had to meet to come, to be prepared for our meetings. So it's a lot. And, you guys done a great job and we really, really appreciate it. So I think that's all we had for this evening. If anybody has any more questions, we'll meet again in 2 months on Wednesday next time, the third Wednesday, because graduations will be over, and hopefully we'll be having some more fellows in the fall, and we're gonna continue maybe this path, but some of the ideas that we had that you guys gave us, we're gonna try to incorporate those. But it's always a pleasure and a joy to work with people that are much younger than us and to hear their beautiful, amazing ideas and intellect. It's just such a blessing for me. And I hope it was for you guys too, or ladies, women, beautiful women, and so smart. And you're just gonna do amazing things. Like I know, I mean, Annie's got a couple more years left, so but and so does Nisa, but we're grateful. Go ahead, Norma, you had your hand up.
Yes. So I posted some rather controversial comments in the chat. And I wondered if anybody besides Cheryl, of course, looked at it and had any kind of reaction, response, question about plastic, about the role of capitalism in creating the craziness we live with. If you had any comments about it, and if not, I'll just hang up.
We did a whole it wasn't the summit, but we had a segment of the summit on PFAS, forever chemicals. So you can and that was way before, because it was a few years ago. And now everybody's talking about PFAS, but nobody was talking about it when we just plugged for we got ahead of the curve on that one. But
You get that it's tied into the production of use of plastic. They make stuff
petroleum.
out of like plastic bottles. They pile them all up and they destroy them in machinery, electricity, or whatever they use. And then they add chemicals to try to make it usable. And the question is, do we want to use this stuff? So
No, we don't.
We
We don't
did-
want to use plastics. We need to go back to glass for sure. Jack, go ahead.
I should thank Karina Templis, who's also part of our steering committee, and
Yes,
she is
Karina.
she raises questions about plastics and has suggested that we do a summit on plastics. So that would be
Yeah.
good. I just wanted to second everything Cheryl said, to thank the students. I think you really did a great job this year. Really like the product you came out with, and I'm hoping to be able to show it to other people in the climate movement. And hopefully it'll be a tool that everybody in the Bay Area can use, at least, or even beyond. So thanks a lot. I think you really pulled it together. It's a really nice document now.
Yeah, and then also we would like to have your PowerPoint so that we can send the PowerPoint out with the recording and the scorecard. That would be great.
I think you gave us the PowerPoint, right? Isn't that the link that you gave us at the beginning of the meeting?
Yeah, at the beginning of the meeting, and it's also
Oh.
shared in the CEMTF Canva.
Oh, okay. I'll look for that. Oh, I haven't gone in there. Well, I did, but I didn't look for that. I just looked at the scorecard.
It's okay. I can email you.
Yeah, that would be good if you emailed it, because old ladies don't do things all the time. Like I like to have it in an email. But
I'm very old, and so I had no way of knowing that you could study the kind of stuff that you've been able to study and create reports about. I'm gonna be 90 in a few days.
Oh,
which is,
congratulations.
well, you know, I'm not dead, but that's fine. It just happened. But the thing is, I'm saying the fact that people are doing all these amazing studies at the college level, you know, I hope everybody knows that they can do all that stuff. The stuff you've done as a result is beautiful and very, very appreciative of it. The difference, you know, as a woman, somebody mentioned Kate Millett in reference to this. That wasn't you, maybe that, oh, I know, that's this other group about women's whatever. Kate Millett is a writer about feminism, and one of the things she wrote in her book, Sexual Politics, 50 years ago, is that if the men disappeared from the face of the earth, the women would not be able to fix the refrigerators and computers. So I tried to get involved with electronics and I was not successful. It was kind of at a time when I was not a good student. But it's wonderful that these kinds of things are going on in school. People are coming up with titles of classes I've never even thought of asking, and they're wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, I'll just say that it's interesting because every year, like the level of education on climate, it depends on the students. Some students, on one semester, the students didn't know that much at all about climate. So they had to learn a lot, but they did a great job too. So it's like, and you know, you never know. Like, I mean, I'm learning every day. So every day is a learning experience. And I appreciate the fact that the students are able and willing and want to learn and then share what they learn with all of you and all of us. So yeah. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts? I don't, but I just wanted to say thank you again. And if you're going to be traveling, I think you're home already, Annie, but Fatima and Sophia, you don't have far to go, Sophia, but still it's a drive. Take care and enjoy your family during this great time of being at the end of the semester and graduating for those who did. You should be proud, and we wish you the best of luck and to keep in touch with CEMTF as well.
Robert Davila, speaking of family.
Yeah, that's my husband. Actually, I got a few members here. My daughter's here as well as my sister. So
Good.
it's all about
Good.
that too, you know.
Good.
But yeah, so
Good.
I just
I
want to
appreciate
thank Cheryl and Jack and Karina for everything. This was definitely an experience and we grew so much and I mean we developed so many skills. And I mean the scorecard, it was definitely something, but we did it. And I mean you guys were there along the way and you guys helped us and I really appreciate that. So I just want to say thank you and yeah.
Yeah, I want to echo that and also thank you for everybody for coming today and like listening to us. Like actually like listening to us and listening to our presentation and like the result of like all of our hard work that we've done for like the past year, which is crazy. So yeah.
Cheryl's information on the internet here, and it goes on forever and ever. She's been really aggravated about what has been going on. And I don't know. Well, the thing is, I'm pointing you to, you could look it up too if you haven't seen it. And, you know, I've kind of heard of it. I don't deal with politicians. I run for the Berkeley School Board every couple of years because I have all this stuff I want to talk about. Like, why don't we know about all these options? You know, all kinds of things to talk about as far as schooling goes. but Cheryl was right there and got elected. And she had the conflicts that go on that keep me away from politics like that. And it turns out that it was great work that she was doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You never know. I was never part of my plan, but I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I'm still involved. And I'm glad that, I'm able to be here this evening with all of you. And we're so grateful for the CEMTF and Jack and Karina, who have stood by our side, each other's sides for so long now. We're in our 6th year at CEMTF. So that's amazing. And look forward to the next virtual summit series. We're still putting it together, but it'll be coming out hopefully soon, because I don't move at the same pace all the time. So especially with the genocide. But also on that note, I and my sister are trying to do the 250 calorie fasting for Gaza, just to be in solidarity. Although I'm not quite at 250, although I've only had about a little bit over that today. So anyway, stay loud, stay proud, love yourself, forgive yourself, and do all that you can for everything. There's a lot to speak up about right now, and be careful, be safe. Thank you, GPCA.
And Cheryl, I just wanted to thank you and Jack and Cheryl, who's not, Karina's not here, for all your help with Scorecard, and also like all of your guidance as well. I think all of your different perspectives have really kind of helped create Scorecard to make it what it is. I think it also kind of inspired us to kind of look at different alternative ways to take your ideas of like racial and political justice, and making engineering and transportation more accessible and more for the people. And even Karina's background in public health, we kind of had to look at different ideas of like how can health, be furthered and kind of like made into a question on this scorecard. That's where the compost hub idea came from, was like food sovereignty is an important health issue. Parks are a health issue. It's not just about climate, it's about health and community and well-being. And I think it just goes to show that we are very connected to the environment and the climate. We're not living alone. We're very much with earth, nature, the soil, water. Like, we're very much a part of where we live, and it's important to take care of that in ways that we can. I just want to say thank you for the scorecard, and all of your help this year. And we did in the past too.
Yay. I'm so proud of y'all.
Your questions too. I think I appreciate questions more than compliments sometimes. Like, it makes me think about what I do and how I can communicate that better. And it goes to show that you're engaged in what we're saying. It's a compliment. Questions are compliments. I love them a lot. So thank you for all coming here and chatting. And yes, thank you.
All right. Well, we'll let you get on with your evenings, and we'll be back here in let's see, what is that date in July? The 3rd Wednesday in July, which is the 16th, July 16th. So we'll see you then. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great summer, y'all, and stay in touch.
Great working with you all.
Bye.
Yeah, wonderful to work with you. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye. And thank you,
Bye.
Larry.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.